Bill Gaither turns 90 on March 28, 2026, a milestone that represents far more than the passing of time. His life has been defined by an extraordinary journey through faith, music, family, and ministry. For more than 7 decades, he has been one of the most influential figures in gospel music, writing songs that have comforted millions, bringing together legendary voices, and creating a legacy that continues to inspire generations of believers. His influence stretches across churches, concert halls, television broadcasts, and homes around the world. Few artists have shaped Christian music as profoundly as Bill Gaither. Yet when he reflects on his remarkable life, he does not begin by talking about awards, record sales, or accomplishments. Instead, he speaks about something far more personal. When asked what he would change if he had the opportunity to live his life again, his answer surprises many people. Rather than focusing on career decisions or missed opportunities in music, he points to the time he lost with the people he loved most. That simple confession changes the way many people view his incredible success because it reveals the cost behind a lifetime of achievement. William James Gaither was born on March 28, 1936, in Alexandria, Indiana. His childhood was humble, shaped by faith rather than wealth or privilege. His family valued Christian beliefs deeply, and music was woven naturally into everyday life. Those two influences became inseparable in his heart. Even as a young man, he discovered a gift for writing songs that expressed faith in a deeply personal way. His music sounded different from much of what gospel audiences were accustomed to hearing. Instead of feeling distant or formal, his lyrics felt honest, conversational, and filled with hope that spoke directly to ordinary people facing real struggles. While teaching school, Bill began writing songs that quickly found their way into churches across America. Alongside his wife, Gloria Gaither, he formed one of the most successful songwriting partnerships in Christian music history. Together, they wrote hundreds of songs that became standards in worship services around the world. Their lyrics explored themes of grace, redemption, forgiveness, and the faithfulness of God in ways that resonated with people from every background. One of their best-known songs, "He Touched Me," became an international success after Elvis Presley recorded it. For many songwriters, having one of the world's most famous entertainers perform their work would have been the defining achievement of a lifetime. For Bill Gaither, however, it was only the beginning of a much larger story. The early years of marriage and ministry were not without hardship. During 1970, Bill and Gloria faced one of the most difficult seasons of their lives. Gloria was expecting a child, and the pregnancy brought uncertainty and fear. At the same time, Bill struggled with depression, a battle he has discussed openly in interviews over the years. Those days were marked by anxiety and emotional exhaustion. Questions about the future overshadowed their lives, and hope often seemed difficult to find. Yet it was from that painful experience that one of the most beloved gospel songs ever written emerged. "Because He Lives" was born not from comfort or confidence, but from fear and desperate trust in God. The words reflected what Bill and Gloria were experiencing personally, which is why the song has touched countless people facing illness, grief, uncertainty, and loss. For decades it has been sung at funerals, hospital bedsides, Easter celebrations, and moments of personal crisis because listeners recognize its authenticity. It was written by people who understood fear and discovered hope in the middle of it. As the years passed, Bill Gaither's influence continued to grow. What began as songwriting expanded into recording, producing, publishing, and eventually creating one of the most recognizable brands in gospel music. The Gaither Homecoming series started with what was intended to be a simple reunion among longtime friends. No one expected it to become a cultural phenomenon. The relaxed format, where legendary singers gathered around a piano sharing stories and songs, captured something audiences had been longing for. Instead of polished performances alone, viewers witnessed genuine friendships, laughter, testimony, and worship. The Homecoming videos introduced new generations to some of gospel music's greatest voices, while creating opportunities for younger artists to perform alongside established legends. Over the decades, Bill welcomed an extraordinary collection of singers and musicians into the Homecoming family. George Beverly Shea, Vestal Goodman, Sandy Patty, Mark Lowry, David Phelps, and many others became familiar faces to millions of viewers. These gatherings celebrated not only musical excellence but also community and shared faith. The series crossed denominational boundaries and introduced Southern gospel music to audiences who may never have encountered it otherwise. It became more than entertainment. For many people, watching a homecoming concert felt like joining a family gathering where everyone was welcome. Recognition naturally followed. Grammy Awards, Dove Awards, Hall of Fame inductions, and countless honors acknowledged Bill Gaither's enormous contribution to Christian music. Yet, even in his later years, he showed little interest in slowing down creatively. Remarkably, at the age of 90, he continued receiving Grammy recognition for songs such as Then Came the Morning, demonstrating that his ability to communicate timeless truths remained as strong as ever. While many artists retire after long careers, Bill continued writing, recording, mentoring younger musicians, and sharing the message of hope that had guided his life from the beginning. Despite all these accomplishments, Bill Gaither's reflections reveal a different measure of success. In interviews, particularly during the later years of his life, he has spoken honestly about the sacrifices his career demanded. He admits there were seasons when ministry and music consumed nearly every available hour. Concert schedules, recording sessions, television productions, publishing responsibilities, and leadership demands left little room for rest. The expanding ministry required constant attention, and countless people depended on him. As opportunities multiplied, so did expectations. Looking back, he recognizes that work often received the time and energy his family also deserved. His regret is not centered on business mistakes or professional disappointments. Instead, he wishes he had spent more evenings around the family dinner table. He wishes he had slowed down earlier and trusted that not every responsibility depended entirely on him. He has acknowledged that there were moments when the stage became more important than being present at home, and that realization weighs heavily on him. His honesty resonates because it reflects a struggle shared by countless people, whether they work in ministry, business, education, healthcare, or any demanding profession. Many individuals know what it feels like to sacrifice meaningful relationships while pursuing worthwhile goals, believing there will always be time later to restore balance. Bill's reflections offer an important reminder that success measured only by achievement is incomplete. Accomplishments may impress the world, but relationships shape the heart. He encourages others to trust God sooner, rest more often, and recognize that personal worth is not determined solely by productivity. These lessons were not learned easily. They came through decades of experience, moments of exhaustion, and the wisdom that often accompanies advancing age. His willingness to speak openly about these regrets makes his testimony more powerful because it is grounded in humility rather than perfection. Yet, regret is not the final chapter of Bill Gaither's story. Throughout his career, the central message of his songs has remained remarkably consistent. Again and again, his lyrics proclaim that God brings redemption, even from broken circumstances. The difficult years that produced Because He Lives did not define him forever. The seasons of overwork and personal depletion did not disqualify him from continuing his ministry. Instead, those experiences deepened his understanding of grace and gave his songwriting greater authenticity. Rather than hiding his failures, he allows them to point toward God's faithfulness. This theme is especially evident in Then Came the Morning, a song that reflects on the period between Christ's crucifixion and resurrection. Instead of focusing solely on the sorrow of Good Friday or the triumph of Easter Sunday, the song considers the uncertainty of Saturday, when Jesus' followers believed everything was lost. That silent day represented confusion, grief, and unanswered questions. Bill Gaither has often suggested that life includes many Saturdays, seasons when hope seems absent and the future feels uncertain. However, he also believes that those periods are never the end of the story. Morning eventually arrives. Resurrection follows sorrow. Hope returns after despair. This conviction has shaped not only his music, but also his understanding of his own life. After 90 years, Bill Gaither sees both joy and regret, with remarkable clarity. He acknowledges mistakes without allowing them to define him. He celebrates God's blessings without pretending the journey was always easy. He understands that every season, whether filled with success or struggle, has contributed to the person he has become. His confidence rests not in flawless decisions, but in God's ability to redeem imperfect lives. That message has remained unchanged since he first began writing songs as a young man in Indiana, and it continues to inspire audiences decades later. His story reminds people that achievements alone cannot satisfy the deepest longings of the human heart. Family, faith, friendship, and trust in God remain the foundations that endure long after applause fades. Looking back across 70 years of ministry, Bill Gaither would still encourage people to pursue their calling with passion, but he would also urge them not to neglect the relationships that matter most. Success is meaningful, but it should never come at the expense of those we love. His life demonstrates both the extraordinary possibilities of faithful service and the importance of maintaining balance along the way. As Bill Gaither celebrates his 90th birthday, his legacy extends far beyond the songs he has written or the concerts he has organized. It lives in the countless lives comforted by his music, the artists he has encouraged, and the enduring message of hope that has echoed through every stage of his remarkable career. His honesty about regret does not diminish his achievements. Instead, it makes them more meaningful because it reminds us that even those who accomplish great things remain human. They continue learning, growing, and discovering new lessons until the very end of life's journey. For anyone who has ever found strength in "Because He Lives," encouragement in "Then Came the Morning," or inspiration through a Gaither Homecoming gathering, Bill Gaither's life stands as a testimony to perseverance, faith, and God's enduring grace. His songs continue to remind listeners that difficult seasons never have the final word. Regret can lead to wisdom, brokenness can lead to healing, and darkness eventually gives way to light. That message has defined his life's work for more than 70 years, and at 90 years old, it remains as powerful and relevant as ever.